Welcome to LCS Talks. I'm Berkeley Glazer, and I'm principal of Langley Christian Middle School.
And I'm Kevin Merchandani. I'm the Director of Instruction for K-12. Berkeley, this is our last episode of Season 5
already
of our core programs here at Langley Christian School. So we are really excited to have another episode with students coming in to share a little bit about their experiences from our arts core program. And over Season 5, we've been talking about our core programs and the impact that they have on the life of our students and their faith and the ways that they are growing here at Langley Christian School. And we seek to be a school community that helps students to be equipped to thrive in faith and purpose. And we have been exploring what it means for us to grow an arts program, a place of performance, of community, of connection, of belonging and relationship. And this is another episode for our families that are tuning in and others that are hearing about Langley Christian School, about the work that we do to form community and relationships. And you'll hear that idea of community come up probably several times in our conversation. So we're really excited to have our panel, and this is going to be a really different kind of episode. So Berkeley.
It is going to be really different. We have 7 cast members, and of course we don't have that many microphones or headphones, so we're going to be transitioning cast members in and out. But looking forward to hearing what they have to tell us about their experience.
Yeah, and we have a special guest joining us in the host, kind of co-host seat here. To my right is Mr. Friesen, Cody Friesen.
Yeah.
We're really excited to have you here, Cody. You're coming
Very
back
excited.
In your performing arts kind of role. We've heard you in a house director capacity, but Cody, why don't you give us a little bit of the brief history over the last couple of years of Langley Christian's music programs and I should say our musical programs, which is different than our music programs.
Yes.
And it'd be great to hear a little bit about some of the work that you've done since you started here at Langley Christian School.
Yeah. So when I came in here in 2022, musical theater was not part of my job scope. I was not hired to teach musical theater. It was part of just being a house director, and I was supposed to be teaching Bible. And then at that time, our current drama teacher got a different job, and then Joel Ditson was like, hey, do you want to direct the show? And I said, yes, however, not this year. I'm going to do it next year because I wanted to know the lay of the land of how the arts were kind of perceived and where we were at in the high school. And so took that year, then discovered some really key players, some students. I'm like, oh, we got some talent here. We got some stuff. And I said, let's go big. And musicals are my jam. Historically, the more just plays, straight plays have been done at the high school. They did like Wizard of Oz and I think another one way back in the day, but not so much like big Broadway scale musicals. And that's my jam. That's what I love to do. That's what I've been trained in. And said, let's do Beauty and the Beast. And the admin were so supportive of like, hey, I need this, and this. And they said, yes, yes, yes. And I was like, oh, okay, then let's go. And I think the cool thing that makes our program different is that it's in the schedule. If you go to most high schools, most of them are extracurricular. So students have to choose between doing sports or other extracurricular activities. But here I want to value all aspects of LCS and hey, let's do it as a course, which means, hey, they get graded for this. There's more buy-in and more opportunity to do it. So then, so Beauty and the Beast was a huge hit. Had a cast of like just over 30, had sold out run like months in advance. And I was like, wow, what if the show sucks? But it didn't. It was great.
How many shows of that was there?
We did 10 shows, 10 shows for Beauty and the Beast, which is like kind of unheard of in high school theater. So did that many shows. And then the next year was kind of following the let's do a musical every other year. Did a Christmas production with our former drama teacher, Chantel Gallant, who wrote it. I turned it into a musical by accident. That one sold out. That was a little bit of a smaller kind of show, more intimate, which was really sweet. Cast members got to contribute their ideas and stories to it. And then Tarzan happened, and that one kind of blew us up more. We had more kids want to get involved. We double casted the show, so had almost twice as many kids. And again, sold out months in advance, had such positive reviews that then led us to now doing shows every single year, a musical every year. So now we're just gearing up for Little Mermaid for next year. But Tarzan, really exploded the arts program at LCS to be like, no, we're here. This is now a staple part of who we are, and really valuing bringing different aspects of the school together on such a unique thing that is for students in grade 9 to 12.
Well, just keying on that, let's talk a little bit about that course, musical theater. So you've got grades 9 to 12.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that? And what's the size? Like, how big is this class?
This past year, we had 42 students
Whoa.
in the class.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot. With me and Connor Murdoch, our performing arts coordinator. Yeah. He was our vocal director for the show. So every single class I scheduled of like who's doing vocals, who's doing choreo, who's doing acting scenes, and just really divvied up throughout the course. And so there's a course that BC curriculum offers on musical theater 10, 11, and 12. And so our grade 9s just get to lump into the grade 10 level, and really honing in on everything that is there. We just make it super immersive. Most musical theater courses would just be, oh, let's learn about tap. Let's learn about the history of musical theater. Let's do some Meisner techniques or whatever acting jargon that you want to do. I was like, let's just make this super experiential. Let's do a show. Because that's what everybody wants to do. They want to do a show. They want to perform. They want to do the things, sing the songs, do the dances, and have the audience there to do it. And so we made the course fit the show capacity, and it's one of my favorite things to do because every single day you get to create, you get to try, you get to fail, you get to push yourself, and you just see this beautiful community start to form that these students will look like, oh man, a year ago, I didn't know this person. And now I'm like, they are like some of my closest friends. And I think I love seeing that happen within the course.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Cody, why don't you introduce us to our first group of students?
Yeah.
Let's get to know them.
So first up, we have three of they're all graduating seniors. We have Bria and Kyla, who both played Jane in Tarzan. And then we have River, who played Kala. And as everyone knows who saw the show, they all were absolutely fantastic.
Oh, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah, we went back a few times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend it.
Oh, like people would see the show like twice, 3 times.
Oh, for sure.
I think the most I heard was 8.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So let's start with ladies, you telling us a little bit about the parts that each of you played. We'll start with River, and we'll go clockwise.
Yeah, so I'm River. I played Kala. Kala was Tarzan's mother, but not Tarzan's real mother. Basically, Tarzan, human, Kala, monkey. Tarzan's real family died, and then Kala kind of adopted Tarzan and made Tarzan like her own son and incorporated him into like the jungle family. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Bria.
I played Jane, and Jane and her father Porter went to Africa, to explore the jungle and find out about gorillas, and in the process she met Tarzan, and since then, I guess, I don't know, there's the whole story. They fall in love. She ends up staying. It's just been a really fun role to play.
Yep, my name's Kyla. I was also Jane, and it was just really fun getting to play that role because she's just so exciting. And, like, she also has a British accent, which was really fun to get to do an accent, which I don't usually get to do. So, yeah, it was really, really fun.
Yeah. Wait,
Awesome.
Kyla and Bria, what was that experience like to play the same role, but you're probably totally different, and I don't know you well enough, and I'm guessing you're probably very different people. What was that experience like?
I mean, I love playing the role with Kyla. It was super cool seeing how she like interpreted Jane, and then taking little things that she did, but also doing my own, and just also watching her perform and just being like so proud, and like it's just awesome to have someone there to do it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, like, I definitely took a lot of, like, her acting into my own as well. As just, like, I knew that she was a really strong actress, so I was just like, oh, what can I do better to, do as good as she does, or how can I, just make it my own as well.
Yeah. I couldn't help but think about when you switched, when you were not playing in your lead kind of roles, what that experience would have been like just to see you participate fully. And I just loved watching each of your faces respond and act and perform, and to the point where I actually forgot that there was a story unfolding, which is always really exciting about theater. That's just captivating. But obviously here at Langley Christian, we want to explore what this means for our faith. So wondering, is there anything biblical about Tarzan? Like, I don't think there's any stories. Maybe there's some stories about monkeys, but
The ark,
but like,
Noah in the ark.
yeah, there we go. There's some animals in there, but yeah, help us to maybe make some connections. How do we think biblically about Tarzan? Is there anything in there that gives us fresh perspective on a Christian school learning and performing?
I think definitely the theme of unconditional love and how Kala just had unconditional love for Tarzan, for this monkey that is not her own, but just taking this outsider in and unconditionally loving and raising it to be like one of her own. And also I think like the theme of redemption, because Kala lost her real gorilla baby to a leopard, and then now there's this new human baby. So yeah, I think the theme of redemption and unconditional love is definitely there.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's a lot in there. I even think about coming off this Easter weekend, where we think of God and his son and being offered and being born into this community unlike him. And so there's a lot there, I think, I find really fascinating for us to think about across cultures, and this idea of family and being adopted and what that means for us being welcomed into God's family. Mr. Friesen, anything?
Yeah, totally. Like in my director's notes in the show, there were like 3 key things that I saw unfolding throughout the thing. And the first one was all about that idea of belonging, being accepted, and how Tarzan's journey, it reflects our own search for community, of how we are wired for relationships. We're wired for that. And the entire first act of the show, you just see Tarzan struggling with like, where do I belong? Where do I fit in? And I feel like as Christians, once we are all like being part of like the body of Christ, you have that sense of like, oh, this is home, this is family, and we have differences, we have different giftings. And I think seeing that unfold in Tarzan was really sweet to see it. And yeah, like Tarzan's not like a biblical show, but there are those themes that you're saying that just come out. And I think the biggest one that the students actually taught me was the importance of community. Like you see these different people coming together for one common purpose, and it's like equal playing field on the stage. And I see that similar at the foot of the cross, we're all on equal ground. And I think it's really beautiful, like even what like River was saying about the unwavering love and redemption and overcoming division. Yeah, there's some sweet elements.
Yeah. Any moments of delight? What were your favorite moments that were impactful to you, whether that was in the course or as you were performing over was it 10 performances? How many performances?
Yeah, 10.
Yeah, 10. That's awesome. What were some moments of delight for the 3 of you?
I would say I really love just connecting with like the other characters and kind of just talking about like, oh, this one's going to be really good, or talking about the scene afterwards, being like, yeah, that was really good, high-fiving everyone, and just like having that community like Mr. Friesen was saying. Just, like connecting with everybody and telling them how good they were doing. So, yeah.
Thanks, Kala.
For me, one of like the most meaningful kind of parts of this was at the beginning of every class, each student would do a devotion, and we would also sing worship songs. And I think that was like a really like impactful way to like start the day. And I know for me at the beginning, I was like a little bit like, oh, like nervous, our first run through, but I think that was a really good way to like calm our nerves and really like go into it with a mindset of peace, and also like we're here to learn and grow and make mistakes. And yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of just going into sports context where we have these liturgies or these warm-ups that get us tuned into the work that we're doing. And so it sounds like you, through Mr. Friesen's course, have established some of those routines to help you to get connected with one another, to understand who you are, and to grow so that you can perform well. So that's pretty exciting. That gives us a bit of a vision of some of these practices that help us. How about for you, Bria?
One thing that I loved about this class is just, I think having the 4 different grades, like people from each grade, has been super awesome. Like I feel like I can go anywhere and I'll have friends now. Like the community is just so amazing, and like I'm never bored in that class. Everyone's so positive, and just it's been super impactful being able, like Kyle said, to be backstage and just know that you can approach anyone and just be like friends with them, and it's awesome.
So it's been a couple weeks now since the closing show. That's a big letdown in terms of emotions and all the things that are going through the attachment, the community building. What is still impactful? What still stands out in your minds as being impactful to you, even 2 weeks later now?
I would say like just the community and everything, like obviously the memories as well. You still have those memories of, like performing and everything like that, but also just being able to like go up and talk to the people who are in the cast, and like I don't know, you just have that community that you'll always kind of have, which I think is great.
I would say, as I'm going to jump in on this one, at the end of every single show, I stand in the corner and say like to people, thanks for coming. But the reason I stand in the corner is I have a vantage point to see all of these actors, these students talking with their friends and family and strangers coming up to them saying, wow, that was so incredible. Wow, you're so talented. Wow, that was so good. And seeing these students receiving the praise and the admiration and the acknowledgments of their hard work, just seeing them beam with like, wow, we did it. We accomplished this thing. That's like a huge standout for me, is like watching them actually receive that. And then also the posture of humility. A big thing that River kind of alluded to is at the beginning of each class, we would sing a hymn to start us off. But even as we got to showtime, like that became so crucial for us to start us off like, hey, this isn't about us. This is not about how talented you are, how great of an actor you are. It's about glorifying, honoring God. And so seeing these students wrestle with that and understand that, and like the way that they encourage people backstage, the way that Kyla and Bria could be in a competition between who's the better Jane, but they are seeking to better each other, like build one another up. Like that is huge in this class. And I just love the heart postures that they carry with this, like all the actors.
Okay, well, thank you, River, Bria, and Kyla, for sharing a little bit about your work in Tarzan and your story and how it's impacted who you are. And really excited to continue to hear more and more about Tarzan and how it's equipped our students in faith and purpose. And so as we transition to our next group of members on our podcast in this panel, Cody, why don't you tell us a little bit about what to expect that's coming up next year for our musical?
Yeah, totally. So with the awesome trajectory that the arts have been going on through Beauty and the Beast, then Behold, and then Tarzan, I really pitched to our admin team in the high school to do a musical every single year. The original plan was to do one every other year, but I said, hey, let's keep the momentum growing. Let's give more opportunity to students. And so next year we're doing another big musical. We're doing The Little Mermaid, which is super exciting, and had more students audition for this show than previously amount. Like almost 100 students came out for this.
Wow.
Which is like incredible. Ended up doing a cast size of about, I think 50, maybe 52. It was really hard for me to say no. I have a hard time saying no to people. So by the time this podcast airs, probably we will have had our first read. We have almost all the costumes sourced. It's pretty sweet, but yeah, and it's going to be a show starting we'll start rehearsals in September and then perform same time in April. But yeah, just going to continue with this foundation that these students have helped laid to keep the momentum growing.
That's awesome. Okay, great. Next up on our panel, we have Ty and Sawyer. They played the role of Tarzan. We were talking about singing and swinging right before this. So what was it like to play those lead roles, Sawyer and Ty? And what does that teach us about leadership and humility and some of the things that you're talking about in your classes?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just first off, it was just an amazing opportunity and experience, like being able to grow close to people that you wouldn't normally be in conversations with or social circles with. Because the class was from grade 9 to grade 12, you're hanging out with people that you wouldn't hang out with normally. So just an amazing opportunity. And then also just as a lead role coming in for personally me, like my first show ever, it was really cool just to see the camaraderie and how people were really just appreciative of their role and also supporting you in yours, and how there was no area where I ever felt like they were like looking at me and being like, oh man, I wish I had that. They're just supporting me in where I'm at and doing their best in theirs. And in that way, it was a really humbling experience to realize like, this is not about me at all. Like I may have a lead role, but I'm just doing my part just as well as they're doing their part for the betterment of the collective show. So that was a really cool opportunity. Yeah.
Awesome. Ty, how about you, sir?
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of highlights that last point that Ty made about kind of just being like humbled is even the double cast aspect of it, that we get to be in the chorus for half of the shows. I thought that was really neat for me because I had done a few shows before and never really was like in the chorus. So I thought it was really humbling, and it was actually a lot of fun. Like I definitely was like nervous about it. I didn't really know what to expect when I was gonna like be in the chorus. But it definitely was like, it was really cool to be able to kind of have both roles to play, which I really liked. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. How has this helped you to grow in your faith?
I'd say for me, we always talked about this, like failing boldly, and how that is like able to actually apply into my life throughout this show, and being able to be fully dependent on God and realizing that it's not our strength, but it's God who is our strength, was really cool. And and through, I'm sure Sawyer's going to talk about like this like sickness and in health and in your great moments where your voice is feeling amazing and you feel like you could hit any note ever, to the moment where you're like, I can hardly even just speak. God is there, and God is your strength, and being able to apply that into my life and realizing like, who am I doing this for? And Mr. Friesen has this thing like an audience of one, and after the shows, like you may have this temptation to just be sucked up in like your glory of like people coming up and saying good job and all these like congratulations and stuff, but realizing like, who did you actually do it for? And having this opportunity to reflect, and even after the show's been done for a while now, being able to see like, who did I do that for, and who am I continuing to do my life for? And am I making my audience just an audience of one? Like, is it for God, or is it for the glory of other people, or for like myself, kind of thing? So that's an area that I've been able to grow.
Yeah, really. The biggest area I think I've been able to grow, and Ty definitely touched on it, was just the last few shows. I was really not up to full health, really sick, couldn't really sing. Like, I mean, I ended up being able to, but that was God. That's kind of what the area I had to just like fully put my trust in Him, because like that last Saturday where we had a couple shows, like I was talking and I was like trying to sing before, and like I actually could not. So I don't really know how it got through that last show, but yeah, so that was all God, and I just kind of had to fully rely on Him there, which was a huge growth moment, I think, for me. Sometimes it's very easy to just try to do everything yourself. And yeah, even just like the community and the camaraderie of all the classes before, and every rehearsal, every show, always singing and praying before, just super, super good things to grow in my faith. Yeah.
You guys both alluded to taking its toll. A production like this takes so much commitment, so much body out of you. Like, it was a very physical, musical, strength-wise and muscle-wise. And so not only fatigue in voice, but fatigue in body. Let's talk a little bit about perseverance. And was there ever a time in your in the production time where you felt like you wanted to quit, and how did you work through that?
During Tarzan, I wouldn't say there's ever a time where I was like, I really want to quit. There was a couple times during the shows where like there'd be like the day before or something like that, where it's like, maybe like this next show I would have to like have Ty like play Tarzan. There's a couple times I thought that, where it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it, but I never like actually thought about like quitting. There was though. During Behold, the Christmas play the year before, there was a little short time there that I definitely was not really feeling it. Kind of wanted to quit for a little bit, but we moved past that.
We did.
Yeah, awesome. I, on the other hand, for Beauty and the Beast, one of the first shows, I did not persevere. So I'm proud. I'm proud that for this show I was able to persevere. I was able to make it through. And there were moments for sure where it wasn't easy, and I was like, am I actually going to do this? Because it just like, the amount of work just seems like a lot, especially when you have your script and you know absolutely nothing, and you're looking at it and you're like, wow, like I'm gonna have to memorize all of this.
It's a book.
But yeah,
so
it's crazy.
Daunting. Yeah.
It is very daunting, especially when you're in the summer before, and then like you do nothing throughout the summer, and you're like, crap, I need to actually I need to get on this. But being able to just like day by day continue to just make the decision to show up was super huge, and just having the amazing support around me helped a ton to be able to get through the process. And yeah, like when Mr. Friesen wants you to do a show, like you're gonna do the show. I mean, I had the one exception, but like, yeah. So he's like always there in your corner, because he wants to see you use the gifts that God has given you, because he has a great way of being able to see those gifts, maybe when you haven't seen them or you don't see them, and pulling them out of you. And I'm just so like forever thankful and blessed for being able to be a part of that.
Nice.
That's pretty special. That's a great connection. Teacher, student, and the students probably doing a better job swinging from vines, thankfully, than the director.
Yeah. I did try it once.
Yeah.
I didn't get the blessing of seeing that.
No. Did you see that one, Sawyer, when I tried to swing?
I don't think so.
Maybe
I
not.
really
Somebody was
wish I
there,
did.
because I was like, can they do this? I
It was
wanted to make
safety.
sure.
Safety concerns.
Yeah,
making
I had to make sure I could do the
it was gonna
transfer.
hold their weight.
And then I never did it after that.
That's probably a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ty and Sawyer, what did you learn about yourselves from this process? Any insights that you could share with us that helped you to see yourself maybe even differently?
I don't really. That's kind of a tough one to think about on the spot.
For me, giving you time to think here. For me, I've never viewed myself as like a singer or someone who's been involved really in the arts. It's always been something that my family's been involved with, but not something that I had done. So being able to kind of step into something like this, kind of my identity of like the limits I've maybe put on myself had changed, where I was like, no, but like all I do, like I play basketball, and that was my my identity. But being able to kind of just release that and being like, God, what do you want for me? And is this what you want for me? And being able to kind of like step into the fact that, okay, maybe it's not all about sports. Maybe there is something amazing and beautiful in the arts, and being able to be a part of a musical was definitely worth it, and was something that kind of like changed my identity, because now it's not just like people would come up to me and be like, oh, like you play basketball, right? And now it's like, oh, you're Tarzan. And it's just so different, but it's so awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think kind of one of the things I was able to learn about myself is just like kind of when doors open, like kind of just to take the opportunities, because like most of the time it's always gonna pay off, like in terms of like committing to something, because like obviously Tarzan is a big commitment, but there's other things like sports and like academic stuff that you have to commit to, and often it can look very like scary from the outside, but I feel like almost anything that I've like fully committed to has always paid off. It's always been like, it's always kind of blessed me down the road. So I think that's just something I learned about myself, is just to take opportunities when they come to me.
That's really great. Cody, what have you noticed in Ty and Sawyer's development over the last number of years?
Oh, man.
What did you see through the performance? How have you seen them change and grow?
Yeah, like I've been walking with these guys for, this is now year 4, and I think the most telling growth that I've seen in them is their hearts after the Lord. And like, yeah, that's not like you learn that directly in musical theater, but like we talk about Jesus a lot. But seeing them grow and mature in their faith and love and hunger and thirst for the Lord, how they personally have grown, but then their leadership skills to other guys in the grades and below grades, I think has been the most amazing thing to see, the way that they rally people around them, to hype people up, to encourage them, to pray for, to pray with. That's been really sweet to see them also like relate that to the way that they lead in chapels or the way that they lead in other areas of the school through their involvement. Yeah, really sweet to see them grow in just how they love the Lord and also using their gifts. Because I think in musical theater, people have like a weird taste in their mouth sometimes of like, oh, you like theater or whatever. But I remember like Ty in like the first show, he came out to me like, this is so much fun. And like Sawyer saying, I really like this. And it's good to do things that you like. And it's sweet to like musical theater and be part of that and find areas like these. Both these guys have said, I would love to find ways to do this after high school in some way, shape, or form. Not that they're going to go be professional actors, which they could very well could do that. Yeah. But yeah, they've grown not just in their gifts and their abilities, but in who they are. And that's my heart for musical theater in this class and this course, is that people walk away with a deeper understanding of who they are, the gifts that God has given them and how they're using their gifts, not just sitting on their hands and not trying new things or failing boldly, as Ty said.
All right, back to Ty and Sawyer. So Tarzan is all about belonging and purpose and identity. And as a Christian school, we're always looking for biblical insights and wisdom. So from your experience after performing for the LCS community, what advice can you share with our listeners about that?
I think like just being in a cast and like joining something like Tarzan or like the upcoming like The Little Mermaid, it kind of like, it feels like a bit of like a family in a sense. And it's not like, it's almost like a smaller, like, obviously it's not like the body of Christ, but it's like kind of like a smaller version of that you can kind of like feel. And it's like, this is kind of like the body and we're all functioning for one purpose. And it's just kind of like a small scale version of that. And I don't know, I feel like I can connect it a lot to my faith in that way.
And feeding off of that, like with advice wise, it's community matters and who you're hanging out with matters. And like the people you surround yourself with are going to like create who you are, right? So as you continue to go into your high school experience for younger people, being able to focus on who are my friends and what are their values, because their values will somehow affect your values as well. So being cautious of that. And then, yeah, just finding people who love the Lord and continuing to search for the Lord. And when you put yourself in communities that love the Lord, there's going to be amazing things that are going to happen as a result of that.
That's awesome. Well, Ty and Sawyer, thank you so much for joining us here. I know you need to probably get back to class, so we appreciate your time, and just really excited to hear from you and your experiences. So feel free to sneak off, and we're going to actually just do a little bit of an interlude where we're going to talk a little bit about some ideas that Mr. Glazer Berkeley here has been exploring with Cody.
Oh.
And we'll explore a little bit of the role of mentorship and how important that is. And Finn and McKinley, you guys can jump on here, and while we're getting all set up. Thanks again, Ty and Sawyer. Really appreciate your time. And so yeah, Berkeley.
All right, Cody.
Berkeley.
As the cast has been mentioning, it's a grade 9 to 12 cast. So you've got, the maturity of the seniors and the immaturity of the nines. Tell us a little bit about how they balance each other out, like in a mentor-mentee kind of relationship.
Oh, it's really organic and quite like unintentionally planned. And I think McKinley and Finn are products of this. Like when we did Beauty and the Beast, they were both. Y'all were what, grade 10? Grade 10. Yeah. Grade 10. Well, we started this process when you were in grade 9. They're grade 10, and we had some phenomenal seniors in grade 12 pouring into these young ones and trying to develop a sense of community, belonging, of all of that. And it just happened really organically back then, of people throughout the years have been like, oh, when I get to grade 11, I'm going to be like so-and-so, this graduating person. And then this year, talking with like Finn and McKinley about this, they're like, oh, wow, we are now the grads. And seeing the way that like in my classes, like I plan things of like, hey, sit beside somebody you don't normally sit beside, or like in scenes or choreo, you'll be up against somebody who's in grade 9 or grade 10 or whatever, intentional, unintentional or not. But I think it's the camaraderie of how we come together every single class. Kids sit together with different people. They pray for one another. They pray with one another. They encourage each other. And specifically with Finn and McKinley, like seeing them walk alongside the younger ones who, like, this was their first show. And Finn, great example of like failing boldly and being big and gregarious or whatever, having these like grade 10 boys that were just like around him all the time because they saw this like star quality. And McKinley has this really beautiful like quiet leadership around her that she just goes and is intentional with talking with the ones who are maybe a little more reserved or a little like unsure of their place. Like that's their first time here. I don't know where I belong in this. Cause that was kind of like McKinley in grade 10 was trying to figure out, hey, how do I fit in this big ensemble of like, wow, you're a grade 12. You're so talented. And McKinley's like, yo, let's hang out. Let's just let's be present. So I think that's a really cool aspect of this course that you don't really get an opportunity to do in high school so much, especially in the classroom setting or on a sports team or any other extracurricular that we offer.
Yeah, very cool. All right, welcome Finn and McKinley. We're going to talk about your roles as Turk. And so your roles are like a supporting role, but it's a big role. It's huge. You play comedic relief, but it's deeper than that. So just share a little bit of insights in terms of what you felt the role that you brought to the role.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was just like a lot of fun being able to play Turk. Like, there's not too much pressure with it. You kind of just have fun. You do what you want. You kind of make it your own, but like for sure you do want to make sure that you are being able to support the other roles and being able to do a good job of that and just make sure that you're really pouring into them as well. And so yeah, I don't know, lots of fun.
Yeah, Turk was awesome to play. Turk is almost kind of in the play, he's kind of the hype man of everyone. Like with Turk, you kind of got to bring the energy so that other people can bring the energy. You kind of got to be that example of just being big, being bold, failing boldly, and just having like just unlimited energy. And with the comedic relief, like you have a role. Your role is to like make people laugh, you know. So if you can't do that, then there's a lot of pressure right there. Just like make sure you're saying your lines right, making sure you're getting a reaction. But yeah, Turk was just a lot of fun just to be able to like let loose and kind of be creative with it. Yeah. Because I think with like acting is kind of its like own art in the way that you like express yourself through the character, and just like the different ways you can take it and how you can relate to people through that. So yeah,
that role of playing the friend and the companion is such an important part of some of the greatest literature out there, right? We think about Sam and Frodo and what it means to journey to deliver the ring to Mount Doom, and some of these key mentor and companion kind of figures and the roles that they play But we can think about them as well as being friends and companions, as guides. We need these guides in our lives. So we don't want to lose that aspect of Tarzan. What did you come to realize and learn about the important role that the guide plays, and any biblical connections you can help us to make in terms of really seeing that experience of being led by and going on this journey of friendship with others in our lives? What insights could you share with us?
I think what I learned is that like Tarzan needs Turk. He needs his buddy to help him get through life. We also need our people. We need our other, especially like our fellow Christians, to help us tell us when we're doing wrong, and tell us to just help us get through life and help us to guide us through that. And I think that like with Tarzan needing Turk, it just shows like how much support from others helps yourself as well, and it makes life a little bit easier when you have others supporting you, and I think that's just something that's super important.
Awesome, McKinley.
Yeah, it's this whole like iron sharpens iron idea that like you need people to walk alongside you and like kind of clash against you and tell you when you're wrong. And I think Turk is a great example of that in Tarzan. You know, he's like, Tarzan, man, come on, put your head on straight. Like, come on.
There's some good lines.
And so, yeah, we definitely all need those people. And I think, especially in just the theater community, there's been a lot of those people, at least for me, through like when I was in grade 10 in Beauty and the Beast. Some of the older grade 12s were that for me. Were just great role models. And I think just the friends and the really close, I've made some of like my closest friends through the theater program, through like the 3 years that I've done shows, and just people to walk alongside me in my life and in my faith, and you know, steer me on the right path. And so I think, you know, just like Turk is that Tarzan, there's been a lot of great guys in the theater program like that for me, and yeah,
that's awesome. We've heard some of the cast and Mr. Friesen throw out this word, to fail boldly. So just in your own words, what does that mean to you, fail boldly?
Just fail without being afraid others are gonna judge you. Like kind of just, you know, hit that high note and have a voice crack. It's fine. Like just do whatever you need to do. Just do it without the fear of being judged. Like just do it in a way that shows others that you're just there to have fun and do your job. And yeah, I think that's a really important part of theater, is you really learn to fail boldly, because no one's gonna judge you. Like no one will. They just are there to support you and have fun. And I think that that's a really big thing that I've learned, is just to just fail boldly. And you know, that's what I got.
Yeah, thanks.
I think that pretty much sums it up right there. Just like really taking it that extra step in everything that you do, and like being, you know, just like examples like in your role, like in Turkey, you got to be exaggerated. You got to put in that extra effort and go over the top, go that extra mile, and not worry about failure. Because if you fail, but you put in the effort, you're not going to regret it as much as if you say, oh, I wish I put in a little more. I wish I tried a little harder. And I think that principle kind of applies to almost like all other areas of your life too, in your effort level, in your perseverance, in anything that you like want to achieve. You got to put in like that extra effort, go that extra mile. And I think that's something really important that theater's taught me over the years.
Good insights.
Yeah, at LCS, we talk about helping all of our learners, as teachers, our staff, our community, to know God, love others, and live purposely. How has this experience helped you to grow in your faith?
I think especially through theater, it's a really special community. And I think Mr. Friesen has done a really good job at really integrating Christ into the class. Like I've never really had that in another class. And I think like the singing before the shows and the praying and the just always putting Jesus first, I think has been a really big thing for me. And it's really helped me like in my everyday life and in my sports and in my family, just making sure you're always putting Jesus first. And I think that, yeah, that was a really big factor for me during Tarzan.
Yeah. What does that mean for you now, McKinley, like moving forward?
Definitely just making sure I have time for him and especially like sports teams as well, like not letting myself fall short. And I think, just trying to be an example, I think is a big thing.
Thanks. Yeah. Finn, how about you?
For me, I think just the big one is community. Just the amazing community that's been here for like my whole theater career here at LCS. Just, we're not meant to walk this walk alone. We need people beside us. And I think the group that's been here at LCS has been like one of the best groups that I've ever like been with in like an extracurricular or like a activity. Just doing this every day with that group of people was just like the highlight of my day. And it was just really special to be able to meet so many awesome people, to grow closer with a lot of people. Like Sawyer said earlier, kind of the body of Christ, like we're all functioning together. We're all working toward a common goal. And each of us has our own strengths that we bring to the table that, and they're all different, but they all work together so like seamlessly. And you have the end goal, which is like this production. And I think just, the community here, being able to integrate so many of the grades, like when you went to that class, like you didn't see grade 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s. You just saw like a big family basically. And just hanging out with so many awesome people was just really just the highlight of my, honestly the highlight of like my high school, like just, I don't know. And then, and just meeting so many people, and that's basically it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you so much, each of you
Definitely.
students, for all of your amazing work. I don't know yet if you know how significant this work is. I shared, I think, previously about bringing my 2 little boys to the performances, and year after year, they are seeing, like many other children and families, and they're experiencing God's faithfulness here across generations, that they're going to be the ones coming into the school performing in the arts, and we want to be a place of thriving in the arts. And so you've created that image and that dream and that possibility, Cody, with you and your students, and you've gifted that to us as a community too. So that's a significant contribution in faith and what it means to be the body of Christ. So thank you so much for sharing your gifts and learning and growing into these gifts that God has given you. And we just really appreciate hearing your voices and how it's impacted who you are and who you're becoming.
And we want to thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. And I want to remind you that if you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us through the email podcast@langleychristian.com. Thanks for listening.